Hi everyone, my name is Hannah Stocks. I am the director of the President Focused Learner Program here at KSU. And with the withdrawal deadline approaching, wanted to make sure you had the best information possible so that you can make the best decision for yourself. This is a longer video because I wanted to go over all of the different little facets and questions that you should be asking yourself about the withdrawal process, but don't forget, this is a video. You can fast forward it, you can go back, you can pause it so that you can read the information on the slides. So move about this video as you need to. So first, what is a withdrawal? The KSU catalog is essentially the policy manual for KSU, and I pulled this directly from the catalog, so you're looking at the definition of a withdrawal. So essentially, a withdrawal allows you to stop the academic penalty of a poor grade mark on your transcript. So as long as it's before the withdrawal deadline, again, you can see it on the calendar, you're able to withdraw from a course to prevent a poor grade mark from happening on your transcript. So you will see that the course is still listed with a W as the grade that you had withdrawn from it, but you won't have an academic grade marker that would go to your GPA. So that's kind of the formal definition. So what is it really? So you hear a lot of people talk about adding and dropping classes or add drop period at the very beginning of the semesters. Typically, if registration is open for that semester, you're going to refer to that time as adding and dropping classes. You can change your schedule. If you remove a class, if you drop a class during add drop, then it's as if you were never registered for it in the first place. But once the semesters really get going or begin, that's when we start to look at a withdrawal. So a withdrawal is your ability to pull yourself out of the requirements and expectations of completing the course during the semester. So if you know the withdrawal deadline, if things are going on with the class, then you can complete it for a W so that there's no, F, D, C, whatever it is, grade on your transcript that are impacting your GPA. Let me also say that you need to be fully honest with yourself when you're thinking about withdrawing. And I know you're probably saying, yes, I'm always honest with myself. But let's make sure that you have the right mindset to really think about how you are doing in the course, what you have done in the course, and what is left in the class. So be honest with yourself. And I love a good example. Here's a funny one. This is actually true for me this week. I joined Weight Watchers, but it's okay that I got a large fast food meal on the way home because I had such a long work day and I'm so tired. So it's so much easier for me to just get that fast food meal than try to eat healthy. And that's very much an excuse, right? I have given myself the excuse of long work day and I'm tired to not eat healthy. I need to realize that I have decided that that's an excuse for myself. And so we need to be thinking about how we're framing, how we're answering questions to ourselves. Answer honestly. Don't just try to give yourself the answer that gets you to what your gut is telling you to do. So let's talk about some questions that you should ask yourself when you're thinking about the course itself. Have you been working hard in the class? Really reflect on how much time have you been spending outside of class, on the homework, on the studying and expectations, preparing for tests, any assignments. How hard have you been working in that class? Is there enough time to turn your grade around by the end of the semester? So what is your current grade? And when you're thinking about your current grade, how many points or how much percentage of your grade is still left? We also need to be honest with ourselves when we think about this question though, because I would not make the assumption that every assignment that I have from here on out is going to be a 100 grade. Life happens, things happen, so let's be realistic about the grades that we can receive with the effort that we're putting in. And is this course crucial to your major and your career goals? This is kind of the question where you start thinking about your major choice. Do you understand the content that you're learning? Have you tried hard in the class? Can you try harder now? This might bring about some more questions about, are you in a major that's the right fit? Or are you interested in the classes for that major that you thought you would like? Do you have any tests or major assignments coming up before the deadline? I always say that we have the withdrawal deadline, we have that date in mind. You might as well do all assignments up to that date so that you have the most information available to you in deciding if this is the right for you. So other questions to ask yourself, we've got to think about the full picture. Is this class negatively affecting your other classes? And I hear students all the time say, I had an assignment in class A and that impacted my ability to study for class B. Yes, that is always going to be true. There are always multiple things in our lives that we are having to do, but are you spending a significant amount of time on this course and not seeing the grade results, and you're seeing just the lack of time in your other courses impacting the success in those classes? So is there no way for you to be successful in this class and your other classes during the semester? And also, this is a time management thing. What's your time management like? Do we need to work on your time management? Do you need to make changes? Are you studying enough? Those are the kinds of things to think. Can you make the adjustments between now and the end of the semester with the points left to really change your grade and pass? And I always tell students, I'm quoting myself, life doesn't stop happening because you decided to go to school. And so you have responsibilities both in and outside of the classroom. Not only are there responsibilities as a Kennesaw State University student, but you might also have responsibilities at home, family, jobs, life, all of the things. Those are going on too. So I want you to consider all of the responsibilities that you are facing right now. And are you in a position that you can remove some of those responsibilities from your plate that are impacting your academic success? Can those other things not exist? Can those other things go away so that you can put more time into your course? If the answer is no, then that might be something for you to consider, because we do have withdrawal for this academic piece. And why or what can you put into place so that you don't have to withdraw? So are there conversations that you can have with family members to help with the familial responsibilities? Can you communicate with your manager that you're working too much? What are those things outside of the classroom that are impacting your success, and can you get them into a different place so that you can succeed? And then there's a couple of people that I typically suggest talking to. So one of them, your professor. It's often in academic advising that students come into the office and they'll say, you know, do you think I should withdraw? And one of the people to really talk to about that is your professor, because they know how you're doing in the class in comparison to the expectations of the course. They also know what's left and what's coming forward for the rest of the semester. Are they worried about your ability to succeed? Is passing still possible? And then talk with your academic advisor potentially if this will impact progression in your degree. You might need to rework your plan for future semesters based off of a withdrawal from a course. And if you're concerned about any impact to your financial aid, you also have the ability to talk to your financial aid counselor. I'm not a financial aid counselor, so you can take this with a grain of salt. A lot of times what happens with financial aid is we cannot create a pattern of withdrawals. So definitely reach out to them, because everybody's financial aid packages are different and have different policies that exist for them. This can play into, are you withdrawing from one class or all classes? There's differences in how financial aid will react, so it's best just to hear it from the expert. But typically we don't want to create patterns of withdrawals. That doesn't mean that if this is the first W that it's not something that you can consider. Talk to your financial aid counselor about it. Okay, so you want to stick it out and you can do better. That's fantastic. Really think about this decision and be honest with yourself based off of what you have completed in the class. How much is left for you to do, and what possible grades do you see for yourself? Again, do not assume that every grade moving forward is going to be 100. The whole way I went through school, did not receive 100 in everything that I did. So it's just realistic for you to assume grades that are likely and possible based off of grades that you've already even potentially completed in the class. And make sure now that you are using your resources. So this is the part where at the end of the semester, I always suggest to students that you be able to do this. At the end of the semester, can you reflect on what you did for the semester and say, I did everything that I could to be successful? If you can answer that yes, that's fantastic. But like all of us, a lot of times the answer to that might be no. Let's try to make that answer a yes. So start doing the tutoring, time management. I'll do some time management work with you. If you need it, just ask. And then seek help from other resources. Counseling might help, especially if you have a lot of stress and burdens outside of your academics on you, or even just your academics. Scholarships, I always mention going for scholarships because if you have scholarships, you might actually have to work less so you have more time to focus on your academics. So if you're gonna stick it out, awesome, just make sure you're using the resources that KSU has available to you. I think withdrawing is best. What now? Make sure that you're still abiding by any policies or deadlines on the academic calendar. Just do a web search for whatever semester, blah, blah, academic calendar, and it'll pull up for KSU. Withdrawing happens through the registration tab of OWL Express. So if you go on OWL Express and click the registration tab, you will see a class withdrawal button, and that would be where you initiate withdrawing. And again, do not create patterns of withdrawing. There's a lot of reasons why not to. Financial aid, academic progression. If we're having to withdraw multiple times in multiple semesters, then we might just need to reevaluate exactly how many courses you're able to take on with your life, or even potentially considering, is this major the best fit for you? You can always talk with your academic advisor on how withdrawing might impact you down the road. And then just a little note, so let's say something happens after the withdrawal deadline, and I just wanted to mention these options to people. First, there's an administrative emergency withdrawal process through the Dean of Students. So this is if you have serious extenuating circumstances that impact you after the withdrawal deadline, you can go to the Dean of Students website and look for information on that process. Typically requires documentation of whatever is going on. And if something happens right at the end of the semester, let's say the whole semester's gone well and something has happened at the very end of the semester, then you might want to talk to your professor about the incomplete process, which essentially will give you a little bit more time to complete, usually that last assignment. But that is up to your professor, and you need to be communicating with them if that happens. So again, these will typically involve extenuating circumstances outside of your control, and they likely require documentation that you're going through it. Bring my screen. Thank you so much for listening to that little bit about withdrawal. Ultimately, make the best and smartest decision for yourself. GPA matters. It matters for financial aid purposes and eligibility. It matters when it comes to graduate programs and professional schools that you might be applying to. So GPA is very, very important. Be very honest with yourself about how you've been doing in the class this semester so far, what is left in that specific course. Consider talking to your professor about it to see if maybe withdrawal is something that you should consider. And then let's make decisions for future semesters that don't put you in this position. We can't avoid every class that we don't want to take, and we can't avoid every hard class. It's college. But let's make sure that you've got the best kind of mindset possible for you to make the best decision for yourself possible. I hope you all have a wonderful day. If you have questions, just let me know. I'll put my email up at the very end of this. Have a great day.